literature has been there in our family for centuries. But the Telugu short story came to my house even before I was born. My birth in 1957 coincided with the publication of my father's story in the Ugadi special number of Andhra Patrika Weekly, which my father always considered an important milestone in his writing career. I began to write short stories right from my 16th year, and my entry into literature was as natural as the fish learning swimming. When I was asked by my lecturer to write a story for the college magazine, I took it very naturally and wrote a story based on a friend's life without thinking of the style and structure. Then I began to write stories for nearly a decade with the only intention of seeing my name in print. If at all there are any promising sparks in them, I do believe that they belong to my father. I joined the post-graduation course of English literature in 1979, and up to the completion of MPhil in 1983, I didn't write any story as I had to focus my attention completely on the studies. By the time I took up writing in 1984, there was a total difference in the past. I began to choose my own subjects and began to write in my own way, and to put it crisply, I began to write my own stories. My father, who was a renowned short story writer by the time I began to write, never forced his influence on me, never wanted to be a teacher to me, and created a great literary democratical world to rear in freely. By the 1980s, my younger brother also began to write stories, and by 1990s, both of us could create niches of our own without being referred as merely the sons of a renowned writer. Afterwards, my mother also wrote 2 stories, and my younger sister wrote more than 30 stories. When the Sahitya Academy Award was bestowed on me a few months back, many of our friends and well-wishers observed that ours is the first case in Telugu where father and the son both got Sahitya Academy Awards. But I humbly and sincerely give the entire credit to my father. The teaching of English literature and guiding research in the areas related to it helped me to widen my horizons and study and perceptions. Slowly and gradually I realized that writing should be a sadhana of literature, a vehicle to probe deep into my psyche, a platform to understand the world all around me, and a quest for the truth. I realized that a writer has to write primarily for himself, and in the process he would reach the others. I realized that the people all around me are not different from me, and I can understand most about them by understanding myself. Writing has become almost an adventure for me. I find it interesting and absorbing only when I lay my own road and walk in a path where no others trod. Only when I am confident that the travel would become a thrilling adventure, I take it up. I have been writing with the room provided by the life and employment. I abhor the method of searching for the themes in the life exclusively, but I try to give literary manifestations to those memories and experiences which haunt for a considerable time. I want to enjoy life spontaneously without any aberrations and colorings, as I believe that literature should be a mere tributary to life. I also believe that there are no answers to many questions in life and literature, but a writer always should have a quest for the truth and answers. I have found a never-ending competition between life and literature. By the time a writer captures the truth, it would be transformed and might have taken a different and unexpected shape, and thus the life scoffs at literature. So the writers have been using different kinds of artistic tools like metaphors, similes, images, and also magic realism to grasp the fleeting moment. I realize that a writer should modernize himself by learning and adopting these methods. I get wearied of using the same mold for the second time, and so acquiring the new modes and methods have become inevitable for me. To come to grips with me and the world, writing has become a psychological necessity for me. As writing is a kind of delving deep into the being, the process of writing has become tedious and painful, but the epiphany achieved at the end of the story or a novel is so spellbinding that I take up one more task after completing the present. I wrote my first novel when I was 20 years, very much like writing the first story. Though the Telugu novel was very much popular 2 decades back, it hasn't updated both in terms of themes and structure. I realized that it needs lot of research and endurance to write a novel.